What's going on, guys? It's Rylan with Rylan's Amazing Photography, and today I'm going to be doing a video on a story behind an image of the lovely black bear that you've seen in the thumbnail. However, before I get into today's video, I want to remind you guys to go down below and like today's video. While you're down there, you might as well go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I upload. You can also follow me on Instagram at Rylan's Amazing Photography. I also have a Facebook page that you can search in the Facebook search bar, Rylan's Amazing Photography. You can also look me up on Twitter at Rylan's Photos. If you want to see some of my best images in my portfolio, you can go to www.rylansamazingphotography.com and you can find all of those there. I also have a book. You can get it in an ebook and hardback version. You can get the ebook for as low as $10. There are links down below in the description, so definitely make sure you check those out. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's story behind an image. So when I posted this image of a black bear on Instagram, if you didn't read the caption, you probably thought that I was deathly and dangerously close to a black bear out in the wild. But that's not true. This image of a black bear was actually taken at a wildlife reserve. It's called Salado Wildlife Education Center. It's in Frankfort, Kentucky, which is about an hour away from where I live. This black bear, when I first arrived, it was actually not doing anything. It was just kind of sleeping and just laying around and being lazy. So on this wildlife reserve, they have all sorts of cool stuff. They had bison, they had deer, they had turkey, they had an eagle, they had a bobcat. It's a very exciting place. If you live in Kentucky, I definitely recommend you visiting it. It's kind of like a mini zoo with like animals that are more wild animals, like local wild animals that aren't like necessarily exotic animals that you wouldn't see in Kentucky. So it's a very exciting place. I definitely recommend you check it out if you're a local. So basically, I captured that photo. I was standing up on a platform above the bear. It was pretty much like nearly directly below me, and I snapped the photo. It was a very, I don't know, it wasn't a very complicated photo. I did have to do a kind of strange edit because beside where the ear is at, there was a branch kind of blocking the ear, so I used Content Aware Fill in Photoshop to take that out to remove the distraction from the image. So that's pretty much how I took it. There's not any kind of big story behind it. There was some video footage to go along with it. Usually in the story behind the image series, I don't have video footage to go along with it. So that's kind of new for this video. Now that I've told you all basically how I've taken this photo behind the scenes, I'm going to go ahead and get into the technical aspect of things. I took this photo at 300 millimeters, which is relatively not very long for 200 to 500, so that tells you all how close the bear was to me. I shot this image at 1/400th of a second with an f-stop of f5.6. My ISO was at 800. It was kind of an overcast day. ISO 800 I feel like was appropriate for the scenario. Using 1/400th of a shutter speed. It was relatively slow for a 500 millimeter image, but I was just using 300 millimeters, so it was doable. A general rule that I like to follow is your shutter speed should be no lower than your focal length. That doesn't necessarily always apply. It's just kind of a good rule of thumb that you can follow. If you want to stick to it, that's great. If you don't, that's also okay. I don't always stick to it myself. I edited the image in Lightroom. I did some basic exposure adjustments on the contrast. I downed the highlights because the grass was a little bit blown out, but the bear was properly exposed. I shot the image, as I've halfway already mentioned, using my Nikkor 200 to 500 millimeter along with my Nikon D500. That's a great camera and lens setup for wildlife photography. If you're looking into getting into it, it's probably about a $3,000 setup. I would totally recommend doing that. The D500 is my primary camera in general, and it's great for wildlife. I've used it for portraits. It works great for all of the above. I'm very pleased with the camera, if you're curious about that. I lifted the shadows a little bit to kind of do that, and as I previously mentioned, I took out a distraction beside the bear's ear in Photoshop. That's pretty much all there is behind today's story behind an image. It's no exciting story, even though it's a black bear, because it was in a wildlife reserve. Definitely recommend visiting the wildlife reserve if you haven't did that yet. I want to apologize if my voice doesn't sound 100%. I'm very congested and my allergies are really bad, so I kind of sound a little sick. I'm not really sick, it's just allergies because it's now summer and everything's blooming and there's trees and stuff. So I kind of sound sick. So I wanted to do an indoor video today and not necessarily get way out in the field. I do plan on having a wildlife photography video out hopefully Sunday. I might just have to suck it up and get out in the field anyways. Sorry if this video isn't very long. I'm starting to lose my voice. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you would like the video and subscribe, that would help me out a whole lot. Don't forget to purchase my book too, starting as low as $10. You can go in the description to do that. Once again, thank you all so much for watching today's video. I hope you liked it, and I hope you guys have an amazing day.